Boom. Hey. All right. Hey guys, it's Ruthie. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you've been here. Also, if you're new or if you just haven't done this yet, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Thanks. I've been procrastinating recording another video all damn week, and now it's Friday, so it's like my last day to do it. So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And then of course, as soon as I get my makeup on and I'm ready to go and start recording, the power goes out on my entire street. I'm just trying to make it work. So there's this topic that I have been thinking about recording for a while, and I've just been trying to avoid it and just don't really want to talk about it, but I know I need to talk about it. Addiction. Oh, so this, I don't want this to be really heavy. I'm gonna try to keep this light. I'm just gonna be me, okay? It's gonna feel heavy because it is heavy. I can't erase the heaviness of what addiction is, but I'm going to talk about it as I am, and hopefully that makes things happier because I'm happy in general. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Okay, so addiction. Where to begin? Where to begin when talking about addiction? I guess I should begin with my personal history of addiction and my personal experiences with addiction. Okay, real honesty time. So if you've been following my page, if you've watched my videos in the past, you know that I've had many different surgeries and I've been through it health-wise, and I'm going through it. It's just my life. If you are someone with chronic illness or you know someone with chronic illness, then you know it's just this maddening thing of just you're sick, but you're not sick, but you kind of are sick. It's just so much uncertainty. And my feelings of addiction really start back with my first surgery that I had. And I was in the hospital for a month leading up to my first surgery. I have a video, I'll put a link to it up here, but I have a video where I talked all about all the different surgeries I've had and just kind of a timeline of my story. And I have a whole playlist that's my health history and updates that I will add to as I see fit. So I guess when I think about addiction, it really starts for me back then. Even though I'm sure I was addicted to junk food growing up, and I'll talk about it some more, but addiction can mean many different things, and it can be a very wide and broad subject. But when I'm talking about addiction and in my mind, when I think about being an addict or having addictions, it really starts with my first surgery and the first time I had morphine. Yeah, I like painkillers. I like opiates. My brain enjoys having its opioid receptors pinged. And I know not everyone's like that. And I am just so happy for you if you are someone who doesn't like painkillers or who doesn't like the feeling that opioids give you. And I have so much sympathy, I have so much empathy for you if you are addicted to painkillers or if you are addicted to any sort of opioid, because the struggle is fucking real. So much of addiction starts with health issues, with surgeries, with fucking doctors. So many people who are addicted are prescribed their gateway to their addiction. They're prescribed the first thing, it has your name on it, it's from your doctor, you pick it up at the pharmacy, and it's totally fine for you to take. And I know that they are cracking down a lot more on opioid prescriptions and how loosely they give these things out. But when I was 18, 7 years ago now, 7 years ago, right? Math. 7 years ago, when I was 18 and had my first surgery, it was not that way. And I was told repeatedly by doctors and nurses that if I was in pain, then my body wouldn't heal properly. So they would always come in and ask what my pain level is on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level, all that. And if it was anything over a 4, they would give me another dose of morphine. or another pill of Percocet if I was like winding down and getting ready to go home. And there were many times where I said I didn't want any, where I said like, oh, I'm probably like a 6, but like, I don't want any right now. Like, it's fine. And they would stop and look at me and question me a lot and be like, are you sure? Because if your body's in pain, then you're not going to heal properly. Like, your body needs to feel relaxed in order to heal. And just basically convince me to take another dose. And it feels so fucking good to me. So I'm just like, all right, I'm not doing anything else. Like, I mean, the one positive thing in my mind about being in the hospital has always been the drugs. And I feel really ashamed and embarrassed to admit that, and also scared because I know that doctors will like flag people who they might think are, ooh, yay, the electric people are here. Maybe the power will come on soon. Okay. So I was always very scared of letting the doctors know that I do like these drugs that they freely give me and have for many years. Because I've had friends who in the past, something about their medical rectors? Something about their medical records would be flagged and they wouldn't get any opioids or wouldn't get any sort of painkiller. And that idea, just the fact that like they could do that or just like refuse to give you any pain medication, like freaked me out and terrified me. And so I've always kind of felt like I have to pretend that I don't like these as much as I do, which is like, oh, this is some personal shit I'm sharing right now. I don't know if I want to share this. The power's back on! I guess that's my cue that I should share this. Okay. So yeah, I have always been really self-conscious about that when I've gone to the hospital, or not always, but I guess since finding out that they can just like not give you anything, because when I have gone to the hospital, like the amount of pain is just, it's indescribable. Like, it's pulling your hair out type of pain, and just like, I can't stop screaming, or I'm not in physical control of what my body's doing because it's purely responding to the pain that I have. And the only thing that helps me in those situations is morphine or Dilaudid or one of the pain medications that they give in the IV. And the thought of not being able to have that is terrifying to me. And I wish it wasn't. I wish that I felt like I would be okay without those, or that like, and especially, okay, here's the real tea, because I teach meditation. If maybe you're watching this video because you've been in my meditations, and I do like live meditations on Insight Timer, and I post a million of them on this YouTube channel and on Insight Timer. And a big thing that I teach is pain relieving meditations, because they are things that I have learned how to do from the amount of pain I've been in. Just like the general idea of not running away from the pain, because so much of the pain is just being like, I don't want to feel this way. I want to feel any other way than the way I'm feeling right now, and just make this feeling stop, and just not accepting the pain that you're having. So if you get into a space where you can just sit there and be like, I'm feeling it, it's here, I'm not trying to make it go away, just like letting it be there, you get a lot of relief. It doesn't go away, of course, but there's that relief of acceptance. And that's what I teach, and I know it really helps people, and it helps me. And at the same time, I like painkillers. And I feel like a hypocrite because I can't always practice what I preach. And a lot of the time, I will have an out by having something to numb my pain. And I feel really, really ashamed by this. I don't take opioids. Okay, so I'm kind of all over the place right now because I'm not sure the structure of the story I want to tell. But during a period of 9 months, and probably closer to a year, I was prescribed 30 milligram pure oxycodone. And I would get a script of 90 of them, and then I would have as many refills as I asked for, basically. So there was like a year where I was just on oxys, just like taking them like candy, because I had an ostomy bag, and I just hated everything about my situation and about my life. And here was this pill that just took me out of that and allowed me to feel like socializing and feel like I had a life. And I hear from a lot of people like, oh, I didn't know that you could have a life with chronic illness. And I've been really scared to kind of admit, I think I've mentioned it in some past videos that I've dealt with oxys, but I've been kind of scared to admit like the amount that in my mind I credit painkillers for, because I don't want anyone else to get addicted to them. And I also don't want to credit these pills for like allowing me to have a life when at the same time I know that they have helped me a lot in social situations and just feeling like I have the ability to get up and talk to people. And I wish that I wish that I could always feel that way by myself. And I know that I can feel that way by myself, but I also know that having painkillers really helps a lot, especially, I'd say only when I'm in pain. Because if I'm not in pain, then painkillers will knock me right out. But if I am in pain and I take them, it just makes me feel like myself again. It just makes me like feel like everything's okay. After about a year of taking all those oxys, I knew that I was in deep trouble and I could feel it. I could feel the hook they had on me. If I didn't take it at the same time the next day, I would start getting withdrawal symptoms. I had a few friends at the time who were deeply addicted to oxys and even harder, like heroin and drugs like that. And their life just seemed so miserable. And I could see how slippery of a slope it is. And I could see me ending up in a position like that if I continued the behavior I was doing. So I just cold turkeyed it. I just did not take a single pill more and just threw up for a few days, went through the hellish withdrawals, and I just was done with it. And I was so grateful and proud of myself and I always kind of said, like, I'm so grateful I have the mind that I have because my mind allowed me to kick my addiction. You know, I'm grateful that I have the willpower that I have because I know how hard it was, and I know not everyone can do that. So that was been my narrative for a while. So since then, I was only kind of taking painkillers when I had another surgery or when I was given them by the hospital. And then when it was over, it was done. And that was that. Like I never went out and bought any or anything like that. But a few years ago, I found this herbal supplement, I guess you could call it. It's kind of like a tea powder. And I don't even want to say what it is because, like I said, I don't want anyone else to get addicted to these things because there are things that feel like they're kind of saving your life at first. And it's like, oh my God, this is perfect. This is what I've been missing. But that feeling is really, that's a red flag. If you take a substance and you're like, this is my missing ingredient, it's a red flag, you know? So I'm like hesitant to even say the name of this substance that I've been taking, but it's in the same family as coffee. So, okay, it's kratom. Hey, it's editing Ruthie. So I just wanted to explain a little more of why I decided to say the name of the substance, kratom, that I've been taking. And it's because I know that there's a lot of substances out there, and I don't want someone who sees this and maybe thinks that the substance that I like might be a substance they might like, and maybe they go searching for herbal opioid or herbal painkiller, and then they find some other shady shit that's laced with something, and I just think it's better that I say the name of it. And there is some information about kratom out there. If you're interested, you can find probably the same information I found about it. But there's not enough information that I feel totally comfortable with what I've been doing to myself by taking it so often. Like there's no long-term studies on what this does for your health and particularly your stomach. There is some stuff out there, but not enough that I feel like I know what it is, which is why I didn't even want to talk about it, because I don't have enough information to really give you like a lesson on what kratom is and all that. But you have access to all the information that I have access to. So if you want to go down a rabbit hole searching about it, then you can do so. There's this organization called the American Kratom Association, and they have like certified vendors, because there are people who sell kratom and they lace it with things and it's not really kratom. So you have to be really careful about that. And like they sell it at gas stations sometimes, but don't take that. Make sure if this is something that you want, I really advise you to think hard about that if this is something that you want, and to just kind of know that it's a slippery slope. And I'm giving you a sufficient warning about that. And also make sure that it is a good source you're getting it from, and a good vendor. And yeah, you can find that on the AmericanKratomAssociation.org. So yeah, be safe out there, guys. It's okay. We'll get through it. I have not felt even a little, I still don't feel ready to talk about kratom. I don't think that I have a good view on it. And like sometimes in meditations, I'll say the analogy of like when you're in a storm, like just let yourself be in the storm and don't try to like analyze it and figure it out, because any conclusions that you reach when you're in the middle of a storm, it's going to be clouded because you're too close to it. It's kind of like looking at a picture all the way zoomed in and it's too pixelated, so you can't even make it out what it is. And I feel like that's kind of where I am with kratom. So I don't have the best vantage point on it, and I can't really see it clearly for what it is, which is why I'm so hesitant to talk about this. And I don't really want to talk about this, but I know that I feel like I have to for whatever reason. Kratom it makes me feel the way that oxys make me feel. Certain types, there's a lot of different types, but there's one type that I get that makes me feel the way oxys make me feel. And it's in the same family as coffee, so it's addicting like how coffee is addicting. Also want to say that not everyone likes kratom. And I have a handful of friends who have tried it and they hate it. Like they get a headache, some of them throw up. You can't take too much of it because you will throw up and it will make you feel sick. So it's not without fail like this thing is like oxys, but it's not oxys. It's like it doesn't agree with everyone. So keep that in mind if this is something you're interested in. You might hate it. So, and honestly, I hope you do hate it. Okay, bye. There are some like headache symptoms if you've been having it a lot and then stop having it. But I've been having it off and on for 2 or 3 years, and I've gone like months with having it like every day, and then I'll go like months without having it at all, and I kind of go back and forth with it. But there's been a long period now where I've been having it often, and I'm like even embarrassed to just admit how often I've been drinking it. And I also know that anything that pings your opioid receptors, which kratom does, it slows down your digestive system. So then I go through a whole wormhole thing of wondering if I am making my stomach issue so much worse by drinking this stuff. Because I drink this stuff when my stomach hurts and when my joints hurt and when I'm feeling like life is just too hard and too much to handle that day. Like if you have chronic illness and arthritis and all the shit, then you know what I mean. Because some days it's like, okay, I can when I have kratom, my days kind of go like, okay, I can drink kratom and get things done today, or I'm just going to be laying on the couch all day, or just laying on the floor, just doing slow yoga for the whole day in order for me to feel okay. And it sucks because I feel like that is what I need to do. And if I was giving advice to someone else, I would tell them, just listen to what your body needs to do. And if you need to lay all day on the floor, on the couch, then do it. But I don't do that. I cover it up so that I can do things and get things done and be productive and try to keep up with the rest of the world. And a lot of people will say things about like how I get a lot of things done, and I never feel that way. I have this bad coach in my head who always tells me that I need to feel like I'm not doing enough in order to do enough, or I need to feel like I need to tell myself I'm lazy in order to overcome that and like actually be productive, which doesn't make sense, and it does not get the desired result when doing that, as my therapists have informed me. That's something I notice myself doing a lot when it comes to looking at my addictions, is like I'm really, really hard on myself. And I have brought this up to therapists in the past. And I think the most helpful thing when dealing with addictions is self-compassion. And it's so hard, and it like sucks to hear that, because I think if you're deep in an addiction, whatever it happens to be, like it could be opioids, it could be alcohol, it could be weed, it could be sugar, coffee, junk food, TV, the internet. Like, we are all addicted to something. Social media. How did I forget social media? Social media. I think most of us are addicted to social media. I had to say this so many times. So I think addiction can be qualified as a behavior that you do that you would like to stop, but you can't stop, or you have trouble stopping. And when we do something that we don't want to do, it's a natural reaction for us to beat ourselves up and to be angry at ourselves and be a bad coach. So in therapy, this example has been really helpful in so many different areas of my life, is this good coach and bad coach example. So your kid plays for a baseball team, and there's Coach A and Coach B. And Coach A will go up to your kid when he misses the ball and is like, "You piece of shit, like you're awful at this sport, like get your head in the game." It's just like yelling at them, beating them up about it, and just not giving them any sort of help, just yelling and just being mean. And then there's Coach B, who when your kid misses the ball will say, "You know, kid, it's all right. You'll get the next one. Here's some things you can do differently to maybe do better next time. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's all right." It's like encouraging and helpful, and gives advice and constructive criticism. And which coach would you want coaching your kid? Obviously, you'd want Coach B, the helpful, constructive coach. And which coach do you think is going to allow your kid to grow and play better? Also Coach B, the nice, constructive coach. And we know this so simply when it comes to other people and in situations where we look outside of ourselves. Like, it's obvious that the best option is having someone who is nice and understanding and compassionate. But for some reason, ourselves, when we try to coach ourselves, we think that Coach A is the best. And we're like, no, like, but if I'm hard on myself, I'll get more done. Or if I yell at myself and make myself feel so bad about doing the thing, then I will never want to do it again. And it's still not true. It's still not true that the bad coach is the best coach. The bad coach is a bad coach. And it's always going to be true that compassion is the key to change. And if we want to help someone else grow into a better version of themselves, we have to first accept who they are right now and understand why they are the way they are right now. And at the same time, encourage them to be their ideal version of themselves and to grow. And again, it's so easy when we think about our best friend or our parents or our kids or whoever is just really close to you and who you love dearly. But for some reason with ourselves, it's so difficult to do this. And so like with my addictive habits, not even just kratom, but with junk food and TV and social media and the internet, all the things, my instinct with dealing with those addictions is to yell at myself. It really is. I'm just like, Ruthie, get off of the computer. Like, what are you doing? You wasted a whole other day just like watching TV. Like, you just wasted all this time. And it's a lot of just telling myself that I'm wasting time. And if anyone else said that to me, like, no, they would not be allowed in my life. Like, if I spoke to anyone like that, I would feel really bad about it. But why is that just like the natural way that I talk to myself? Like, no matter how much I preach to others to be kind to yourself and love yourself, and it's like, there's still that voice in my head that will be beating me up for all the things that I do that I wish I didn't do. So the key to changing this behavior is noticing when that voice is there, that hypercritical bad coach, and instead showing compassion for yourself. And just telling yourself when you hear those, you're wasting time and you're a piece of shit, like, why are you doing all this self-destructive things? Just telling yourself, you know, life is hard and I understand why you're doing this. You're in pain right now, so I understand why you don't want to feel pain. And you're tired right now, so I understand why you just want to lay and watch TV. And I understand how that can really be seen as enabling behavior. And that's kind of what stops me from doing it, is I just feel like I'm enabling myself to do these things that are harmful for me and don't make me feel good ultimately. So I feel like by being compassionate about it and like being nice to myself, then I'm not really gonna change anything, because then I'm just accepting where I'm at. All right, I'm really sad because I just recorded this and I had like a mental breakthrough and it didn't get recorded. So I'm gonna try to go through that process again, but okay, so I'm just interjecting here because I kind of disagree with myself, and like I get what I'm saying, and like I feel that also, but there's another side to it that like only you know when you're enabling yourself to like continue the things that are self-destructive. Like only you know these things. For example, say you're laying on the couch all day and you're just like, and you know that you probably shouldn't, and you're like, you're such a piece of shit, like you're so lazy, like just get up, like that is not helpful. And I think in my head, when I assume that being kind to yourself is enabling, it's because I'm assuming that the opposite of doing that is being like, no, it's okay, you can be a lazy piece of shit today, why don't you lay on the couch some more? And like, that's not what it is. That's not the opposite of that. It's doing the same thing. It's still encouraging you to just do something that's maybe not the most helpful for you. So the key there is just being brutally honest with yourself. And I guess not brutal if we're trying to be kind to ourselves. So no brutality, but just being very honest with yourself and just being like, looking at your situation. So like in the example of laying on the couch and watching Netflix all day, if you're in a flare-up, it's the first day of your menstrual cycle, you're just having like if you're fighting off an illness, if you are in a position where you know that's all you need to do is just lay on the couch and heal and rest, then do not feel bad about that. Like it is totally okay to lay. And you can change that narrative if you're having those thoughts come up like you're a lazy piece of shit for laying on the couch all day. Just be like, my body is doing so much right now. Like my body is fighting off whatever illness this is. My body is healing. My body is hard at work. So I have to lay so that all that energy can go to fighting off whatever this is. And like, that's a good way to flip it when you actually do need to lay on the couch. But if you find yourself laying on the couch and you know somewhere inside of you that you probably should get up, you probably should go for a walk, like you would benefit from that, but you're just like, oh, like I just don't want to get up, then I think a tendency can be like, just get up, you lazy piece of shit, just go do it. And I mean, I wonder if other people always say that to themselves. Like, I call myself a piece of shit a lot. But I don't know if I'm alone in that. Probably not. I don't know. Let me know. So then in that scenario, I think it's the most helpful to like, just think about the future and just think about like, okay, well, I feel right now, if I continue to do this, if I continue to lay on the couch for the rest of the day, I'm going to feel really bad about myself. I'm going to feel like, oh, I should have done what I knew I needed to do. I should have gotten up. I should have cooked something. I should have went for a walk or whatever. All those like should haves. So think about like, if you stay on the couch, that's probably what the rest of your day is going to look like. Or if you were to get up and literally just walk down the street or just like sit in your yard or just do something to get outside and to just take you out of that like slothy place, then think about how much better you're going to feel. You're going to feel like proud of yourself. You're going to feel like, oh, like I fought through that like lazy thing trying to pull me down, you know? So it really just depends on you and like, you know, when you're enabling and when you're not, and just trusting that you know that, because a lot of times I feel like we can get really confused and just be like, well, I don't know what I need or I don't know what I want. So when you feel that way, I really think just sit in silence and feel your body, feel your mind, just feel everything that's going on. And you do know, like you do know. And even when you really don't think you know, somewhere inside of you, the answer is like screaming at you and trying to tell you like what is the best thing for you to do right now. And you just got to quiet all that noise. I think we can all get stuck like just listening to things outside of us and just being like da 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 da. But like listen inside of you, and you know. Okay, I'm done. Like when you give yourself that grace and just remember that there is always a reason why you do the things you do, and we always do the best that we can with the information that we have, and we do things with good intentions. And even if like we do something purposefully to harm ourselves, even if like we know that a glass of wine isn't going to make us feel good, but you just want to have that glass of wine, like it's okay, because like I said, life is hard. We are in a weird ass time period, and we're in this like weird in-between stage, I feel, of like, we are humans, like we are human beings. We have the bodies of humans, the souls and hearts and everything of humans, but we are basically slaves to technology now, and we are kind of in like an in-between phase of like becoming a technology hybrid type of cyborg, I guess. So it's natural that there's going to be a lot of growing pains with this, and just our nervous systems in general are just not geared for these lifestyles that we all live, where we're sitting and on the computer and just doing everything on screens. Like the amount of screens that I see around me is just like maddening, but they're still there. I'm not getting rid of them. Like I'm not doing anything to fix it because I need them for work and for communicating. It's like, I just feel so trapped by screens and just everything. And I think when I get really down on myself about it, and when I'm like, oh, you're just so lazy, like all you're doing is looking at a screen all day. And also because I'm a video editor now, and this is just the most I've ever been on my computer, like ever. I've always worked customer service jobs, or I'm always out in the world and talking to people in my day. And now I'm just sitting in my house and on a screen. So it's a big lifestyle change for me. So that is also going to cue a lot of behavioral changes and a lot of inner turmoil. And when I'm kind to myself about that, and I remember that I'm going through a lot of changes and we're all going through a lot of changes, so it's normal that I'm going to feel this way, I don't feel like being on screens more. Like I don't feel like when I'm kind to myself about that behavior, I don't feel like doing that behavior more. I feel like going for a bike ride or going for a walk, because I'm like, yeah, I've been spending a lot of time on the computer today. I think I should get outside. I think I should go for a walk. I think I should go for a bike ride. And because that would make me feel good. But like for some reason in my head, if I'm being mean to myself and being down on myself, I feel like saying those kind words to myself is just going to enable my behavior. But actually what happens is being mean to yourself encourages that behavior. For instance, when I was trying really hard to stop drinking kratom, like altogether, I was just constantly saying to myself, like, stop drinking this. Like, I can't believe, oh, you're really gonna have another cup right now? Like, stop having this stuff. Or like, there are different periods where I've smoked like a ton of weed and I just could tell it was starting to like not help me, as I know it does sometimes. Like if I just have too much of it too often, it has the reverse effect for me. So in stages like that, when I am mean to myself about it and I'm just like, oh, you're really going to sit here and smoke another bowl? Like, oh, you piece of shit. Guess what I do? I smoke 10 times more. I drink 10 times more because I'm just drowning. I'm just having a pity party for myself, you know? I'm just like drowning my woes in substances and screens and just consumption. I'm just trying to consume as much as possible to like fill this void I feel in myself. And so being the bad coach to yourself actually is what enables this behavior. Maybe not enables, but it encourages that behavior and makes it harder to not partake in that behavior, if any of that makes sense. So it's really counterintuitive and it takes a lot of effort to break these patterns. And clearly, I have not broken these patterns. I am in the middle of this, which is why I really did not want to make a video about this. And I mean, this has been on, like, addiction has been a list, like, on my notes of, like, things I want to talk about on this channel. It was one of the first ones I wrote down, was addiction. And that was over a year ago. It was probably closer to 2 years ago. And in my mind, I was like, well, I can't talk about it now because I'm not over my addictions. But what I started to realize just a few days ago when I was in the shower and just kind of thinking about the next video I want to do, I realized like addiction is always going to be present. We're always going to be battling some form of an addictive habit. There also are some healthy addictions. There are healthy addictions. There are unhealthy addictions. I mean, the information on addiction is plentiful out there, abundant. Like you can be addicted to going to the gym. You can be addicted to just going for runs, working out, you know, and I definitely flipped my addiction from opioids into an addiction to yoga. And they're both kind of numbing and they're both kind of escapism, but one of them is like an ancient practice that is beautiful and actually helpful. But it does matter what your intent is when doing these things. And really cold. Sorry, I'm going to leave my hood on. I just wanted to say a little extension of what I was just saying there about like any activity that you do to avoid feeling is, I would say, somewhat of a harmful addiction. If you are, like for me, when I was doing yoga so obsessively, I was doing it to avoid, I was doing physical postures of yoga. I wasn't doing yoga, the practice of yoga, because the practice of yoga is accepting all these parts of you and being fully aware of what's inside of you and around you and your response to it and everything. But I was doing the physical postures of yoga, the asanas, to avoid feeling what I was feeling. So there is a space where you can have I'm sure there are people who would argue that there's no such thing as a healthy addiction, but I guess it would be more of a dedication. If it's a healthy, quote, healthy addiction, it would be considered a dedication to something. Like if you're dedicated to the practice of yoga or you're dedicated to your regimen of working out. But I think an addiction is more of like if you are avoiding feeling your feelings by doing something. And I think no matter what it is, that's somewhat unhealthy, no matter what you are doing to avoid feeling, because you're avoiding feeling, and that causes suffering. What increases our suffering is the aversion we have to suffering and trying to not feel things and trying to get away from the hard feelings in life. So just by accepting that suffering is a part of life and life, it comes hand in hand. We cannot live without suffering. It erases that whole layer of pain, or it erases the heaviest layer of suffering. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that a little bit more. Okay, bye. It just takes a lot of awareness, and I think a lot of addictions are just rooted in mindlessness and thoughtlessness is maybe the better way to say it. Just kind of going through the motions and just doing the thing that feels good in that moment. And see, I knew I was gonna have like so many more things to say while editing this. Let me fix my eyebrows because this is just like, I'm sorry, I'm looking rough right now, but this is me. Hi. Okay, so this is my struggle with talking about addiction, because I know that most people and most of the information out there about addiction and most of the books about it and everything, they assume that or at least what I'm reading right now, it's really just basing every single sentence off of the assumption that you were mistreated by your parents for some reason. And that's not me. I have, this is the Tao of fully feeling. So that's not me. My parents are fucking angels. My mistreatment came from doctors and nurses in the hospital, and it's stuff I'm still dealing with, But I struggle with this because a lot of information about addiction is about obviously escapism and trying not to fully feel, which I do to some extent, for sure. I try to numb things, but I numb things I don't know. I haven't really heard anyone else kind of say this stuff about addiction, but when I drink kratom and when I try to numb my feelings, it's so that I can analyze them. Because when it's so overwhelming and it's all I can feel is pain and sadness and I can't stop crying and I just nothing I'm feeling is feeling helpful in any way. When I numb that just a little bit with a substance, I can then sit down and write about what I'm feeling. I can look closer at what's going on and I can come to these conclusions that I've reached that I think that I know help me and I know they help other people. So I'm just a little bit confused on really where I stand with addiction, and I don't really hear anyone else talk about it in this way of I have painkillers so that I can feel. I mean, I could just be completely lying to myself right now. Also, I'm fully aware that could be what these thoughts are, is that I'm just kind of in deep denial and telling myself that I'm taking substances that numb me so that I can feel more. Because honestly, that doesn't make sense when I say it out loud. But that is what it feels like. It feels like when I take kratom, I can sit down and feel my pain and I can analyze it and I can write about it and come to these conclusions a little bit more clearly, because it's it's too much with it's too heavy and it's too much to feel. But I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to share that thought, and I could edit this thing that I'm saying right now and feel a totally different way. But yeah, I wonder if there's other people out there who kind of feel that way about the substances they take, that they're more tools that help them to feel and analyze their feelings a little better, which again, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I just wanted to throw that out there to see if there's anyone else who kind of feels like that is what their addiction is rooted in and can't really find other people who are saying the same thing. Because yeah, most of the people I hear talking about addiction, it's about numbing and not feeling and running away and distracting yourself from all your problems. But what if you take a substance and do the opposite? If I take a substance and run toward my problems and try to feel them and analyze them, and are those findings going to be clouded because I found them on a substance? But they still apply when I'm not on the substance because they connect with people who aren't on substances. It's so much. It's so much. Okay, I could keep talking, but I'm not going to. Okay, bye. I always kind of say, do the things that make you feel good. But this does not mean to do the things that make you feel good in this moment all the time. Because sometimes the thing that's going to make you feel good ultimately is not something that's going to make you feel good right now. For instance, it might not make you feel good to be cleaning, to deep clean your house and everything right now. But when you walk around in a clean house after, you're going to feel good. So it's not as simple as just like doing what's going to make you feel good right now, because having that mentality is going to get you addicted to shit, because there's a lot of substances you can take that will make you feel great right now, but it's going to make you feel like shit tomorrow and the next day and just long term. So yeah, I mean, I could go on about addiction and talking about this for a while. But I feel like I just need to word vomit this video and just kind of get it all out there, because I'm in a place right now with the addictions I've been dealing with that I can't even bring myself to write about it. And that's when I know, like, I really need to talk to someone about it. Like, I love to write. I definitely am like a writer, but I think I'm more of a talker. And I think I learn a lot more about myself just by talking. And like every time I record a video like this, like I learn something new about myself. And I'm so grateful that I operate in this way, because it makes life a lot easier. Like I can just talk to myself or talk to this fucking camera or whatever and figure something out, you know? I know these videos are helpful for a lot of you out there, and thank you so much to the people who reach out to me. And I did receive one voice message from Nicole, the sweetest angel I've ever heard. And Nicole, if you're watching this, I have listened to this voice message so many times, and it just makes me feel so good. So I really want to thank you for sending that. And I just want to thank you to everyone out there who is listening to me, and I'm so happy that these, or what I say, can help you in some way. And I want to let you know that I'm making these to help people, but a big part of me is doing them because, like, for my future self, and just as like a video journal, basically. So yeah, I really just wanted to let this first episode, video, talk, whatever you want to call it, ramble session. I wanted this first one about addiction to stand on its own and just be my general word vomit, to be my general word vomit about my feelings about addiction, my experiences with it. It's been a lot, obviously, and I think after speaking this, and I think through editing this video, I think I'm going to have a lot more clarity about things I want to mention about addiction in the future, and hopefully seeing some comments from you guys or hearing some voicemails from you guys will also spark some more talking points when it comes to addiction. But I just want to let you know, if you're out there and struggling with an addiction, you are not alone, not even a little bit. I'd say the majority of us are struggling with some form of an addiction. And if you need help, if you need to join a support group, if you need to talk to someone, there are so many resources out there for you. I will put links in the description to like NA meetings, Al-Anon meetings, AA meetings. There's just so many different groups out there that create a lot of support and a lot of resources for those who are trying to get out of their addictions. And I mean, I would be remiss to not mention shame in this video. I really think that I know that shame is a huge catalyst and it feeds addictions, because when we are in shame about our actions, we want to hide that and cover it up, or numb it, I guess. So if you feel ashamed, if you feel like you're alone and like no one will understand what you're going through, or any of those feelings, know that it is completely valid that you feel that way, and I also feel that way. So if we both feel that way, then we're not alone, and those feelings are not accurate. I'm here for you, you know, if you want to leave me a voicemail talking about your addiction stories or any questions you might have or any advice you're seeking. There's a link down in the description where you can leave me a voicemail. You can always send me an email. You can send me DMs. You can reach out to me on whatever platform you can find me on, which should be all of them. Also a social media addict to some extent. I definitely do have little like tricks and little things I do here and there to ease my addictions and to be more mindful about how much time I'm spending doing things, and just time management stuff and coming into reality of like, I waste a lot of time on Instagram, or I waste a lot of time eating junk food, or whatever the thing happens to be. And oh, there I am again though with the wasting time narrative. So yeah, obviously this is not even close to everything I want to say about addiction, but I have to get going. I got shit to do today. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. You can also send me a voicemail and let me know your thoughts, good or bad or constructive or whatever. Just let me know where you're at. Love to hear from you. I will definitely put together a video in the future with a couple of different voicemails and have that be a little thing. So I really am excited for that idea. So please send me more voicemails. I literally have one right now. Nicole, you are the best. You are the OG. I love you. And I love you. Okay. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say. Is that all I want to say? I'm going to go for a bike ride right now because just talking about that made me want to do it. So I'm going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Cows. Hi, cows. And wait, what are you? Are you cow horse? Are you a course? Oh, tired. Are you a cow? Cow. A horsey cow.